Good evening, and welcome to this week's edition of Whether or Not. I'm your host, Dana Osgood, joined by our forecaster of the week, Caroline Castora. Now, Caroline, it's been a bit of a dreary week this week. Do we have some sunshine in the forecast to help us cheer us up?
Short answer, no, there's not. This weekend, the theme is going to be wintry mix. There's a lot of uncertainty regarding the precipitation that's going to fall this weekend, and I don't have a lot of sunshine in store.
Well, I am sad to hear about that, but I hope you can give us some more information in your forecast later. But first, I heard that you also have some interesting nature in the news stories this week. What are they about?
Yeah, I do. One of them is regarding some shocking footage coming out of Australia where a dam is flooding, and then another one on renewable energy.
Those sound really interesting. This week, I have nature in the news stories about a severe weather outbreak that happened in the Deep South last week, and a little more of a positive story about finding some no longer extinct poisonous frogs.
Wow, I'm excited to listen.
And with that, let's get into Nature in the News.
The International Energy Agency claims that the growth in renewable power capacity is set to double by 2027. This would mean the addition of as much renewable power in the next 5 years as was used in the last 2 decades. Scientists say renewables will overtake coal as the largest electricity generator by 2025, likely driven by the global energy crisis linked to the war in Ukraine. This could likely be a historic turning point towards a cleaner energy future. As fossil fuel prices continue to rise, countries are beginning to embrace low-emission technology. Things like wind turbines, solar panels, nuclear power, hydrogen fuels, and electric vehicles are increasingly popular. China alone is planning to install almost half the new global renewable power capacity over the next 5 years, but they are also still accelerating coal mining and production at the same time. This is harder for lower-income countries because of their weak infrastructure and lack of financing. These countries are the most vulnerable to climate change, but they're the least responsible for it.
Residents of the Deep South are recovering from a severe weather outbreak last Tuesday and Wednesday. At least 37 tornadoes touched down, according to the National Weather Service. Most were concentrated in northern Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama. The tornadoes and straight-line winds caused structural damage and power outages to homes and businesses and killed several. In the Louisiana town of Caldwell Parish, furniture could be seen strewn across the front lawns of what used to be people's homes. In addition to the severe weather, torrential rain also caused flash flooding. Some places picked up over 5 inches of rain. The setup that caused the severe weather was more reminiscent of May than November. However, November tornadoes aren't entirely uncommon, with the season referred to as a second season for severe storms. In fact, the United States averages 65 tornadoes in November. It will take time and effort, but the South will recover from this late November tragedy.
Australia is dealing with a flooding emergency after a dam failed. The Wyangala Dam in New South Wales was inundated with water due to days of heavy rain. The Bureau of Meteorology released flood warnings for several rivers in the region, including the Lachlan River where the dam is located. The South Australian State Emergency Service has issued a dam failure emergency warning after signs of structural failure are showing on the walls of the dam. Those in the area were told to relocate outside the warning area. 60 properties are in the warning area, and pumps are trying to move water out of the area. High water rescue had to be performed in the area due to flooding as well. More rain is in the forecast for New South Wales, which will exacerbate the flooding.
Rainbow-colored frogs are making a colorful comeback after a fungus almost caused their extinction. Harlequin frogs are no bigger than a strawberry and have bold, bright colors to ward off predators. More than 2/3 of the named species in this group were believed to be extinct as of 2010. So, scientists in Ecuador were shocked to find one sleeping on a leaf in a forest. As they began to do more research, more than 32 of the believed to be extinct species were rediscovered in South and Central America. Not all the news is good, however. The fungus, called the chytrid fungus, is still plaguing the frogs' populations. To combat the fungus, some of the frogs moved to a lower elevation, where the fungus had a harder time growing, which is believed to have helped their recovery. Scientists say rediscovering the species is incredibly exciting, and they hope more research in the future will help protect these frogs.
Precipitation's in store for this weekend. It's just a matter of what kind is going to be falling from the sky. Let's get into it. So Friday, this mess of a surface map, you can see there's a lot of precipitation down towards our south associated with that low pressure system. For us, it's going to mean some sort of wintry mix in our area. Models are still uncertain what kind we are going to be dealing with, but expect that on Friday. Temperatures should remain cool, around average for this time of year. Before Saturday, temperatures stay pretty consistent, cool again, but there's going to be some peaks of sunshine and some snowflakes falling on Saturday, so not as much confidence for a wintry mix on Saturday. I'm going to sound like a broken record when I say wintry mix, so get used to it. And then Sunday, yet again, this low pressure system situates closer to us up towards Lake Erie, and then again that big swath of wintry precipitation over our area, so expect something, whether it's rain, snow, or even some ice in our area, and then temperatures remaining cool and around average for this time of year on Sunday. So recapping this real quick, your high temperature on Friday is going to be 41 degrees, rinse and repeat, chance for a wintry mix on Friday. Before we move into Friday night, wintry mix towards leaning more towards snow as we move into the overnight hours on Friday, bottoming out at 29 degrees for your evening. And then 41 degrees is your high temperature for Saturday. So chance for snow on Saturday, but the sunshine will peek through for that day. And then Saturday evening, 32 degrees as your low temperature. Chance for a mix yet again on Saturday. Before Sunday, this is our greatest chance for that wintry mix. 40 degrees for your high temperature as you finish out your weekend. And stay tuned. Connor has a feature where he says goodbye to me and Dana.
In our final installment in 2022, we must bid farewell to two members of our Whether or Not team. Dana Osgood and Caroline Castora have completed their final show with us, and we bid them farewell and we wish them the best in their future endeavors. We hope to see them accomplish many things along the way, as well as to take on any new horizons that they may encounter. Up first is Dana. She'll be graduating in the spring of 2023. Dana, this is your last time with us on Whether or Not. How does it feel right now?
It feels really sad. I've been on the team since last semester, and even though we took a break over the summer, it still feels like I haven't been here long enough.
Yeah, we've certainly enjoyed having you around. Do you feel like you really learned something from your time the last year on Whether or Not?
Yeah, I feel like I learned a lot about the broadcast industry and kind of really just how much goes into making a show like this. I know I'm on Weather World also, and we have a 15-minute show every single day. And with the amount of production that went into our 15-minute show once a week, it's really just kind of puts it into perspective.
And with all this time that you've been on the show, do you really have a favorite memory that sticks out?
There's so many good ones. I'm always a fan of kind of like the bloopers that we have. We have a little blooper folder saved. The amount of times I've been able to say, like, weekend your recap or something like that. But I think my favorite memory has to be the times on the TriCaster when we accidentally took screenshots and we made a photo that just looks so funny, and we called it Deep Fried Dana. So that has to be my favorite memory because I laughed so hard.
Yeah, that was a very fun one. Well, we thank you very much for your contributions to the show, and we wish you the best of luck for what the future holds for you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And finally, we have Caroline Castora. Caroline is graduating in the spring of 2023. Carol, how does it feel to finally be done with Whether or Not, and how does it feel this is the last time that you'll be on this show?
It's kind of crazy because I feel like it's the beginning of the first of the last for my senior year. This is kind of the first thing that's ending, and it's a different chapter of my life that I'm moving into. It's going to be weird not having to meet every week to film for Whether or Not. I'm going to miss having the responsibilities because it was such a constant in my schedule for the past 2 semesters, so it's going to be different.
Well, we have certainly appreciated your contributions. And do you feel that the skills you built on Whether or Not are going to translate into the real world?
Oh, for sure. We really have to work with deadlines, which I think is something that's very big in TV careers. I think deadlines are so important. So having to do that, also the fact that we are fully student-run is a big deal. I feel like it gave us a lot of responsibility that not many college students have. And then even just sitting at the desk cross-talking is something you don't normally get as a meteorology student. You kind of just stand in front of the green screen. So this is really good practice for when we're on air in our future TV jobs.
It's absolutely been a great experience. And throughout your time, of course, last spring and this fall, do you have a favorite memory that really stands out as one of the most fun moments you've had on the show?
I would have to say, I can't narrow it down to just one. I would have to say our first ever in-studio broadcast last semester. back when it was Jimmy, Brian, and Stuart, and then Dana and I, of course. We used to do remote videos. And so when we finally all got to meet in the studio, Marissa brought us pizza, and it was so exciting that it felt like an actual show rather than just all of us meeting on Zoom to film. That was one of my favorite memories. Another one I would say is all of the silly little bloopers that we've had this semester. I think that one of my favorite would be Deep Fried Dana when the camera kind of glitched out and she looked crazy. I just love all of those pictures, and I'm going to treasure them forever.
Yeah, it's certainly been a great time, and we thank you for the dedication you've had to the show, and we wish you the best of luck moving on.
Thanks.
It's certainly a bittersweet goodbye to two esteemed and talented members of our team, but we can rest assured knowing that with the memories that they fondly made throughout their time on the show, and with the skills that they built, they will be able to take these skills to wherever they go in their meteorological careers and shine amongst their peers in a long and illustrious career for the both of them, and we wish them the absolute best. For Whether or Not, I'm Connor Freidhoff.
Precipitation's in store for the weekend, but there might be some drying out as you move into your extended forecast. Let's talk about it. Starting with your quick weekend recap, 41 degrees as your high on Friday, and then this wintry mix I was talking about, there's a chance for it on Friday before we bottom out at 29 degrees for your low temperature Friday evening. Saturday, there's a chance for snow and some peaks of sunshine on Saturday. We'll top out at 41 degrees for your high temperature again on Saturday before 32 degrees is your low overnight into Sunday. And then a wintry mix, this is probably your best chance to see it this weekend, is on Sunday, where we top out at 40 degrees and then 32 as your low temperatures. Speaking of temperatures, though, your extended forecast, we're hovering near average for this time of year. 40 degrees is the average for this time of December, and every day except for Tuesday and Friday are going to be right around that average mark. And then there's only precipitation in the forecast towards the middle end of the week. Wednesday, you'll have another chance for a wintry mix as you move through the day. And then Thursday, rain is in the forecast, but cloud cover varies on Monday, Tuesday, and Friday. So, Dana, winter is certainly here, but it's not quite in full force yet.
Yeah, I'm going to enjoy the peaks of sunshine while we see it, but I'll still hold out my hope for a white Christmas, at least just for a little bit longer.
For sure.
And now it's time for your Weather Whiz Quiz question. So, what is this week's question? It is, how many tornadoes touched down last week during the severe outbreak down south? Is it A, 21? Is it B, 28? Is it C, 34? Or is it D, 37? And if you chose D, 37, then you'd be correct.
It's crazy to me that not many people know that there's kind of a secondary severe season for the South closer to December.
Yeah, in my Nature in the News story earlier, I mentioned that the U.S. sees about 65 tornadoes in November. I think that a lot of people think that once the main severe season is over, they're more concerned about snowstorms than severe weather, but there is still that chance.
For sure, especially down south, they don't really worry about snowstorms, but the severe threat is always there.
Yep, it's been a pleasure sharing this desk with you, Caroline. This is actually our last time on the show, and honestly, it's been a nice time. I think we've learned a lot, and I'll miss being here.
Yeah, I also think we've grown a lot as forecasters and hosts, so if you watch some of our earlier episodes, I hope you see some growth.
Yeah, I think so. Well, that's all the time that we have for this week. Be sure to tune in next semester for some new faces and plenty of great content. Have a great day.